work for the welfare of all. May we be free from hunger and discord and have joy and a world at peace. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from the happiness which is free from suffering. May all sentient beings live in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from the happiness which is free from suffering. May all sentient beings live in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from the happiness which is free from suffering. May all sentient beings live in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. So we start with some practice, checking that you're sitting comfortably. And again, just bringing your awareness into the body. Okay. I'm unable to feel compassion and love for humans. When we narrate our opening prayer, wishing happiness to all sentient beings, I feel nothing. Why should we wish compassion and happiness to humans? The human species, I feel, is insane and horrible creatures. We have and will continue to destroy everything. I feel this even on a daily basis in everyday life. How will it help change an entire species if only a few humans have some positivity and are compassionate? How do I get rid of this dismissiveness and negativity towards an entire species? It stops me from feeling any love and compassion. It's relatable. We are kind of shocking what we can get up to. You know, you talk about all the wild animals on the planet, and the humans are the wildest. So in the morning practice, you were doing, reflecting on a precious human rebirth. And some people mistakenly understand that as meaning any human rebirth, but it's not. There's, all these causes and conditions that come together to make it precious. And so, absolutely, as you say, there, if you look at the statistics of, there's not that many humans involved in actively cultivating love and compassion and trying to, cut through to wisdom. What's the alternative? One of the things Jetsuma often says is if we were to see we've got, all of the pollution that we can see in the environment, and she said if we could see the mental pollution, it's far more, catastrophic than the the physical pollution. But there is a lot of power in virtuous activity. The impact of an act of kindness, I think, is beyond our scope of understanding. There was an American TV show, Mr. Somebody, the neighbors. I think he was in the 1960s. Anyway, he had a catchphrase, look for the helpers. The helpers are always there, even in the most dire places. But yeah, I mean, it's absolutely the case. I think that, you know, we can read these words and they're not touching anything. It can be helpful to reflect on them, you know, to sort of go off and maybe just sit with one line. And it's important too that we, first of all, recognize that, I mean, yeah, it's saying, like, I don't feel it for others. Do you feel it for yourself? Do you feel that compassion and love for yourself? You know, really honestly ask yourself that question. So that's where it starts and that's where it ends. It's waking up that energy within us, and at the same time recognizing that we are interconnected. So if I work on cultivating love and compassion and acceptance and insight for my own experience, for my own reality, that will benefit others. And actually, I won't be able to benefit others until I do that work. I mean, you know, a lot of us can be very busy out in the world, serving and taking care, but if we're ignoring that, it's always going to be limited and conditional and subject to burnout and collapse, and yeah, it's limited. So it's important to also find some way of making that authentic. It could be a puppy, yeah? You might feel that love towards a puppy. Some of us have pets that we regard much more highly than humans. But whoever opens that up within us, we can use that as the object of our compassion. And slowly, 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 well, in using whatever object kind of makes that, gets you to feel it, feel a little warmth in your heart. Then there's the recognition, slowly, that this warmth, this love, this compassion is arising from within. And so we're doing everything and anything we can to allow that to become more apparent. But it doesn't have to be, you know, this sort of heartbreaking, opening feeling of love. It can be just feeling okay. I feel okay. And the fact that, you know, the human species on the whole is insane and horrible, that's kind of why they do need compassion. Yeah? How will it help change an entire species if only a few humans have some positivity and are compassionate? Yeah, I guess, you know, when we look at the where the planet would appear to be heading, no matter what happens, no matter which way it goes, we kind of have to show up in the same way. And again, like letting go of any outcome, but just really showing up fully open, fully aware, fully willing to to just stay the course, no matter what happens. I mean, again, the question is, what's the alternative? What other plan is going to work? And remembering too, like what we're looking at and what we're experiencing as we discuss, all of this negativity, this is samsara, like that. The mind turned outwards is samsara, the mind turned inwards. And inwards doesn't mean withdrawn, but inwards to look at where all of this is arising from. Again, mistaken. Samsara was never going to work. So, and there's another phrase that I find very useful: there's nothing new in samsara. We're seeing it playing out again and again and again, every war, every conflict. And of course you go like, why aren't we learning? Why can't we see? But this is our basic ignorance. And again, this is because we're buying into appearances and believing appearances and not examining them, not going deeper into cultivating insight. So, yeah, puppies. And again, even the fact that you're asking the question means that there's there's a recognition of just an awareness of it. And so that's coming from a bigger space. And then we go to, you could say, the other extreme. Sometimes I can feel the energies and pain of people around me, especially in crowded places and public transport. I feel I'm sucking these energies like a sponge, and I really feel quite sick and restless. And sometimes when I feel the pain of my dearest people, when I stand or sit close to them, and out of compassion, I want to meditate and see if I can alleviate their fears and anxieties too, just as I alleviate mine. I don't know what to do in both these cases. So, I was going to find my little picture of the bird. Here he is. So we talk about the bird needing two wings, wisdom and compassion. And so I would say that, this description is more kind of a little bit lost in the compassion aspect. And so cultivating wisdom, particularly equanimity, which I've been talking about earlier. Equanimity gives us that ballast and a kind of a very wide, open, clear view, which can accept suffering. I think I've heard it described as, like the view that you get from the top of a mountain so that you can see in all directions. If we're halfway up the mountain, we're kind of stuck with this limited space, and take that as being everything. And again, while we do talk about, may all other beings be happy and so on, and like we haven't done it here, but there's a practice called Tonglen, which in some ways you're describing here, but not in this description is like it's clearly causing, distress for you. But the principle of Tonglen is, and you do it on the breath. You breathe in the negativities of others. You breathe in their suffering, their pain, so that they can be free of it. You visualize it as dark smoke. You bring it in. But the most important thing is that you're bringing it into your bodhicitta, your altruistic heart, So there's no self-clinging in that space. There's no self to be damaged by all of that negative energy. As you're breathing it in, it literally disappears, no longer exists anywhere in the moment that it connects with our emptiness, with our wide open heart. Yeah? And then in the out breath, you're sending out light and love and all of these positive, virtuous energies. Again, Tonglen, as with any other practice, like talking about cultivating kindness in general, it has to start with us. So we can do that practice with all of the negative energies in our own body, mind. But yeah, so really, when I'm saying like to focus more on the wisdom aspect, that's looking into altruism and bodhicitta, and but there's no self to be damaged in our stepping out into the world and helping others. And also, again, equanimity is accepting the pain of others, accepting the reality. We can't fix everybody. And a lot of the time it's actually our discomfort, our inability to be with the suffering and pain of others, so we just wanted it to be gone. So again, it's like, come back to what's happening in my mind. What's it triggering in me? What's the discomfort? What is it that I can't bear in this situation? And meeting that with an open, kind, loving awareness. We're not in control of other people's pain and suffering. And there's one of the questions in Tonglen, it's like, can we really take on the suffering of others? And would you want to? And it's really about making us more robust, more available, more capable. Yeah. How do we deal with regret, especially certain decisions that had the potential to change life's trajectory and that can't be undone? Well, first there's a distinction between regret and guilt. So I'm wondering, like guilt is, I've done something wrong and I'm a bad person, and you're looking backwards and you're stuck with it and you're giving yourself a hard time about it. Regret is recognizing that you've made a mistake, and it's forward looking, and it's like, so okay, I made a mess, now what can I do about it? So you're learning from it rather than defining yourself by it and seeing yourself as stuck with it. And of course, there can be, some situations in life that are very big regrets. I've heard a story of His Holiness the Dalai Lama being asked if there was anything that he regretted, and he said that one time a student, an elderly man, had come to him, and he wanted to do these particular practices, and His Holiness said to him, it's too late for you to do it in this lifetime, it's too late to start. So this student was of the view that there would be future lives and decided to kill themselves so that they could be reborn and do the practices. And the interviewer, said to His Holiness, like, how did you get over that? And he went, why would I get over it? He said, I use it to cultivate compassion. So, yeah, all of our mistakes, all of our obstacles, they are all our teachers. And again, our deepest dragons are our darkest dragons are our deepest treasures. It's just our willingness to be with them. Be with them first. Really accept them. and then ask ourselves, okay, what can I do with this? But not what can I do with this so that I can get rid of it, but like fully be with it. And there's so many skillful ways that we can work with that, you know. Again, I mean, one of them would be cultivating an aspiration. I've heard Venerable Ravina saying, you know, if we genuinely understood the value in rejoicing, which is a little bit like gratitude, particularly rejoicing in the merit of others. She said, you could just be watching Netflix all day and eating popcorn, as long as you were doing all of this rejoicing as well. So, like, you think about, I don't know, let's say, you know, somebody earlier was saying, like, that you'd really, you want to devote your life to the Dharma and get fully involved, and then you start to see all of the reasons why that might be tricky and difficult, and how can I, you know, how can I get there? So one of the things that we can do is think about those who are devoted to their practice and who have given their lives to it, and just go, how amazing, how fantastic. You could send a few dollars to support them, or just, you know, find a way to connect to it. Find a way to connect to what it is that you're aspiring to. And it brings us closer. So rather than going, you know, I mean, I watched this film years ago, a beautiful film called Blessings. It's a documentary about these nuns in Nangchen in Tibet. Amazing practitioners. And honestly, after watching it, I was so depressed. I'm like, you know, I mean, how can I compare to them? They're doing, you know, 12-year retreats, and they're just having this amazing, deep practice. And I just felt like it's just too much. I'm too far away from them. And then a friend came to stay not long afterwards, and we were going to have a movie night, and she said, I've heard this great film called Blessings, I really want to watch it. And inside I was like, no, I can't go through it again. But, you know, I was a kind host, I went, okay. So we watched it, and on that occasion, I heard this one phrase at some point where one of the nuns said, and I think she might have been working, I mean, these nuns, like, they did everything. They built the monasteries, they did everything, looked after the yaks, and so it wasn't just the ones in the 12-year retreats. There was a whole bunch of other nuns doing other things. But I heard one of them saying, we're walking each other up the mountain. And I think she was a yak herder or a kitchen, you know, she wasn't in the place I wanted to be in the 12-year retreat. But when I heard her, I was like, I'm on the mountain. I felt connected to them. And we are. Even hearing about it, you know, we're connected. So, like, do it, whatever we can to, so when we feel a lack or a distance or a regret or a shortcoming, be glad you see it. And again, trust that it's teaching you something, it's showing you something. It's, again, like I've been saying the other day, you know, when I'm playing the piano, I want to hear the mistakes. I want to hear the shortcomings, because until I hear them, I can't correct them. So, yeah, there's nothing we have to throw away. There's nothing we have to improve upon. Everything can be transformed. And again, you know, the great irony at the end of the day is that we were perfect all along. I think Suzuki Roshi says, you're perfect just as you are. You just need a little improvement. Okay, so we'll do some practice. So don't forget the puppies. So I'm going to guide us through practice that Joseph Goldstein offers. And it's called, I think it's called the Big Sky Mind or something. Yeah, Big Sky Meditation, he calls it. So again, just checking that you're sitting comfortably. And again, just refreshing your motivation. So begin by opening to sounds. The sounds in the room, the sounds beyond the room, the sound of my voice. Just staying soft, relaxed and receptive, not looking for anything. Simply being open to the sounds that appear. Let the mind be at ease and relaxed, open to whatever arises in the realm of sound. Notice how effortlessly each sound is known in the moment that it appears. Let the mind become like a big sky, empty, empty sky, empty space, with different sounds appearing, changing, vanishing in the open space of the mind. Mind is like open space. Sounds appear and disappear in the open emptiness of mind. And open to the different sensations that arise and appear, these physical sensations, points of feeling, like stars in the night sky. No solid body, no head or shoulders or back or knees, only points of sensation, points of feeling, appearing and disappearing in the open emptiness of mind. There's no inside, no outside, no boundaries or separation. Only sounds and sensations appearing and disappearing in the open space of mind. Notice how effortlessly each sound is known the moment it appears. Notice how effortlessly each sensation is known in the moment it appears. Be aware of thoughts and mental images like clouds in the sky, appearing and disappearing in the open, empty space of mind. There's no inside, no outside, no boundaries or separation. Just sounds, sensations, thoughts and images appearing and dissolving in the open emptiness of mind. Not wanting, not looking, simply resting in the empty, aware space of mind. As sounds appear, sensations appear as points of feeling, thoughts and images appear. Rest at ease, the weary mind. There's no solid body, head, shoulders, back or chest, arms or hands or legs or feet. Only points of sensation, points of feeling, like stars in the night sky, appearing and changing in the open, empty space of mind. No wanting, no doing. All experience appears and changes and disappears by itself. Experience directly your own mind. It's invisible, clear, without color, without form. Directly experience your own mind, empty and open. It is, but it doesn't exist. Experience directly your own mind. It knows all things, but is not composed of them, unformed, unborn. It knows all appearances, but is not composed of them. Looking for it, there's nothing to find, and yet it knows all things. Experience directly your own mind. There is no inside, no outside, no boundaries or separation. Only sounds, sensations, thoughts and images, hearing and changing in the open emptiness of mind. There is no solid body, head or shoulders, back or chest, arms or legs. Only points of sensation, points of feeling, like stars in the night sky, appearing and changing in the open emptiness of mind. Experience directly your own mind, the cognizing power of emptiness. There is no inside or outside, no boundaries, no separation. Sounds appear, sensations appear, thoughts and images appear in the open emptiness of mind. There's nothing to do, nothing to be, nothing to have. Sounds are known, known by what? Experience directly the nature of mind. Empty, open, no color, no form. The cognizing power of emptiness. No inside, no outside, no boundaries, no separation. Just sounds, sensations, thoughts and images, appearing and changing in the empty, open space of mind. So take a stretch if you need. Okay, another question. One of my family members is suffering deeply, and I know this because this person's external environment is filled with negativity in terms of speech and thoughts. I feel helpless because I don't know how to help this person heal. I think it's too late to push this person towards meditation. Also, they have strong views and difficult to persuade. Is it my karmic destiny to be so closely attached to this person and not be able to help? How do I fix this? And what should be my learning? I feel both anger and compassion towards this person and helplessness. I don't understand why I am in this bond with this person that I cannot move away from. If I'm unable to help them, am I failing in some form of karmic duty? You know, often we can't help. And I think there's hints of that in the way that you're writing this. Is it too late to push this person? And they're difficult to persuade. Don't push them. Don't try to persuade. We can only genuinely help through through our example. And, you know, again, looking at all of the feelings of helplessness that you have, look at that in your own mind. Make that your practice, to look at the emotions that get stirred up. Because as you start to face that in yourself, it's going to allow the other person to see you differently. And that's how you heal them. Well, you heal them by leaving them alone in the first instance. I mean, do what you can, but don't expect results. Just as we try in our practice to be okay with the suffering in our own minds, we also have to be able to do that in facing the suffering of others. But each time you sit down to do your practice, you can have them in your mind and genuinely wish them to be well and wish them to be happy. And that there is an impact in that. But don't look for don't have a time frame on it. You don't know, none of us know the suffering of others. None of us know how much they have to go through and when the wake-up calls will happen. But because we are connected, your example will benefit them. I have a brother who I would say we were estranged for most of our life. I maintained a contact, but it was very rudimentary. And there was a lot of suffering happening in his life. There still is. Just recently, he's ended up in a nursing home, and he has early onset dementia, and that's only a small part of what's been happening for him. But I started visiting him more regularly, and he has started asking me about, first of all, about His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and it's not to say, you don't need to bring anybody to any particular path. Everybody will find their own. So this really started from him. He started asking me to tell him more. And just recently I sent him a video from being up at His Holiness the Dalai Lama's temple. And he said this to me on one of my visits, and I genuinely, again, let go expectations. And I'm telling you this story, but I'm not saying, this will happen with this person. It will happen, but in its own time. We have to let go of needing to see the change. Have confidence that the change will happen. So I'm sitting with my brother, and he said to me, I thought my life was over when I came into this nursing home, but now that you've talked to me about the Dalai Lama, I feel like there is purpose in my life. If you had told me that he would have said such a thing, I would have said, no, it's not likely. But again, it's within all of us to awaken our love, our compassion, our meaning in life. It's in our nature. So again, having confidence in that, and trusting that you will impact on other people, but it absolutely has to be through you paying attention to your own suffering and acknowledging it and working with it, being very honest with yourself, and also being very honest with the fact that other people do suffer and you might not be able to do much about it. Can you bear it? Can you be with that? Because in doing that, you are freeing something. And another one on emotions. I recognize and appreciate that observing and accepting emotions such as anger, resentment, etc. Sorry, observing and accepting emotions such as anger, resentment, and so on may help in these emotions passing away. But will meditation help with such emotions not arising at all? And how will the practice help in dealing with situations that cause such emotions to arise? Also, if I always accept my negative emotions and learn not to react, but the situations that trigger these emotions continue to remain, how is it fair? So the situations aren't causing the emotions. Inevitably, there are going to be ups and downs in our life. You know, we get diagnosed with illnesses, people die, we lose things. And they may trigger these emotions, but they're only triggering them because we have that propensity within us to experience them. When we start to look at them in meditation and to be with them, we begin to see their insubstantiality. Normally we don't notice emotions until they're like kind of screaming at us. But the more that we sit and practice, we begin to notice them when they're much more like at the ember stage rather than the full fire. And in noticing them in that ember stage, then they don't have to escalate. So the situations that are triggering particular negative emotions now may not necessarily do so in the future. If we can be with the emotions as they arise, and also recognizing, I've been saying this earlier, you know, that in their essence, they are all wisdom energies. There's nothing that we have to throw out. And I was giving the example of, it's like looking at, you know, water can show up as ice, as liquid, as we're seeing now outside the window, or as gas, but it's all the same substance. So in and of itself, it can transform. We don't have to bring anything in from the outside to do it. But that resting with it and being curious about it, seeing what it can show us, supports its ability to dissolve. So, I mean, you're not saying it here, but it's not about numbing our emotions or, you know, when you talk about not reacting to them. It's not that they're solid and permanent and continuing to play out, and I'm just sitting here going, you know, just kind of staying numb and not reacting and just letting the whole thing. It's actually, I'm engaged with them. I'm in relationship with them, and in that relationship, they can transform. Okay, so the situations aren't. Yeah, it's not a solid, permanent thing of. Well, just that, you know, if someone gets a cancer diagnosis, um, people react in many, many different ways. Many different ways. So it's touching into that and trusting again that flexibility. Okay, we'll do one more practice. I was going to send you off out for a walk, but I'm not sure. You're welcome to, if you brought your umbrella. Okay, so we'll dedicate our practice. By the power of this compassionate practice, may suffering be transformed into peace. May the hearts of all beings be open and their wisdom radiate from within. So thank you for your practice. We're going to meet upstairs at 6:30. It'll be a shorter night tonight, maybe about an hour.